I forgot to mention an important piece before. So once I recognize this restlessness and this discontent within me, I truly look at it honestly at my life and how much time I'm spent chasing distractions or engaged in this constant thought process, this wandering mind to fill in the gaps, to fill in that emptiness, that void. The more I look at that and study that and I'm honest about that, allows me then to evaluate it and ask myself the question, is this the way is this the way I want to live my life? Do I want to reinforce this pattern? So it's a behavioral pattern, it's an experiential pattern, it's a cognitive pattern. I feel this discontent, this restlessness. Do I want to continually reinforce that? And by reinforcing it, I mean that searching for outside stimulus, or engaging in outside stimulation activities to temporarily and artificially assuage that process that's going on. So we understand it, we experience it as a feeling in the body, this restlessness and discontent and dissatisfaction with the now, with the moment, with my life as it is right now. And the need to replace that. We recognize that as a feeling, and we can look at it as a thought. We can imagine it. Oh, I need to do something. There's something I gotta do. I gotta do. I need to look forward to. What is there to look forward to? But what I didn't mention before is that it's a neurophysiological process as well. So if you're honest about your life and you look at yourself from moment to moment and you're aware, you become conscious of what's going on with the body, sensations, your thoughts. You can also recognize that every experience, every sensation we have, and every thought is a neural entrainment, is a neural pathway. They call it an entrainment. So these are neural pathways that have existed throughout perhaps your whole life, through your very early childhood. Because you have not found a way, we have, as a people and a culture, have not found a way to search inward to develop entrainments or develop healthy neural pathways that allow one to be fulfilled with nothing else. So the pattern has been a neurophysiological pattern. The connections we have made is that there always must be some reward. Yes, I'll engage in some activity, work or whatever, some activity, but there must be a reward at the end of it. So I'm never living for right now, experiencing right now. I'm always living for some future reward, some future pleasure, some future gratification that I can experience. And these are the neural pathways that we've created. These are the entrainments. These are the physiological components, underpinnings of behavior. So through this conditioning, it's very deeply rooted. It's very difficult to break. The desire for outward stimulation and that feeling of discontent with what is right now. These are deeply rooted neurophysiological patterns, neurocognitive patterns. So what we're literally doing is reshaping. You're recreating the neuroanatomy, the structure and the function of your own neural network, your own brain. And that's exactly what behavioral conditioning is. And there's only two ways to go. Either you're getting better at that through effort, or you're getting worse at it. This is called neuroplasticity. So either we're reinforcing old habits and patterns of behavior that are unhealthy for us, like overeating, or searching for stimulation, some outside source, artificial source, any type of habit. Either we're strengthening those things, or if we make no changes, or we're reversing those patterns through a concentrated effort and a focus on what's going on right now in my body, in my mind, in my sensation, in my emotions, what's happening, and how do I change that? Through behavior. Now, everything's behavior. My thoughts are behavior. My feelings are behavior. Everything that goes on in this body is behaving and acting in some way. So what can I do? Become conscious of what's happening, and how can I retrain my brain, re-entrain, create neural pathways, and then cognitive and emotional experiences that are directed towards a path of contentment and peace and creativity. Because I'm always searching for outside stimulation. There's no room for creativity. There's no time and there's no space. There's no space and there's no time for creativity to come up with new ways to find contentment, to find happiness within the self without anything added. So the question is, do I want to continue and reinforce these old patterns that lead me nowhere, that lead me to a brick wall, a dead end every time, a cul-de-sac, a psychological cul-de-sac, like a rat spinning in that maze? It doesn't know where it's going as long as it's moving somewhere, and I'll keep doing that. Or do I want to recondition my brain and my body and my behavior and my emotions for health and healthful practices and life and longevity and invigorating the self? All behavior, anything that takes place, anything that moves in this world and behaves in this world, needs energy to perform any task. Even the tiniest, most fleeting thought takes caloric units, must consume energy in the form of calories. So how do you want to spend your energy? We can dissipate it through the search for pleasure, just waste it. Or we can maintain it and direct it in constructive and creative means. Through things like meditation, through things like yoga, through things like studying meaningful content that will allow me to enrich my mind. Creating new neural pathways, restructuring the neuroanatomy of the brain and the body, the nervous system, restructuring the nervous system and the endocrine system from the top down, from the prefrontal cortex to the deeper primitive parts of the brain, creating new memories in the hippocampus, creating new emotional states of bliss or happiness and contentment in the amygdala, these primitive parts of the brain that are driving us from the bottom up to goal-directed behavior, to ease that discomfort, from the top down through cognitive awareness of what's going on, from the top down, the neocortex, the new parts of the brain, the human parts of the brain, not the mammalian or the reptilian, which are the emotional. The mammalian centers, the amygdala and hypothalamus and endocrine system, pituitary gland secreting hormones in the body that generate the secretion of more hormones for stress or pleasure. Hormones generate neurotransmitters for pleasure or fright or flight. So instead of responding in that same way, that conditioned pattern, I'm changing my whole physiology, the neuroanatomy of my mind, my hormonal system, which drives behavior, and my neurotransmitter, my neurochemistry. So look at it, how complete and holistic it is. It's a beautiful, beautiful system. And that is awareness, that is consciousness. And it's pure form, it's beautiful form.